You'd have to be hopelessly unconscious not to notice this string of power-packed sports cars parading down the street. This is the Concorso Italiano, held at the fashionably plush confines of Quail Lodge, and it's held on the same week as the Pebble Beach Concours and Monterey Historic races just a short hop away. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 Italian sports cars converge for the spectacular event. Ferraris, Maseratis, Lamborghinis, Panteras, Italian motorcycles, and this year's featured mark, the cars of Alfa Romeo, turn the grounds and gardens of Quail Lodge into a great panorama of polished paint, chrome, and glass al fresco. The organizer and co-chairman of Concorso Italiano is Frank Mandarano.
We try to keep the event very interactive. So there's a lot going on for people. We have, of course, a drive-by of the marked clubs during the morning. We have a fashion show in the early afternoon, and this year, for the first time, we've brought in some very talented opera singers from Milan who just sang a few minutes ago, and it looked like they were a very big hit. And then in the afternoon, we have the featured marks, Alfa Romeo, Ferrari, Lamborghini, and of course our awards, which we give. It's not a judged event. So we have a best of show, a first, a second runner-up, and a people's choice.
Yes, we would have to call this absolute banquet of Italian style, blended with a healthy portion of Italian engineering with a generous dose of Italian coachwork, as much fun as you can have with the blessing of the Vatican. And besides the fantastic cars, there were living legends in attendance, like Carroll Shelby and former British Racing Hall of Famer Sterling Moss. While some Italian cars were intriguing, if not awe-inspiring, many of the Alfa Romeos on display were infinitely rare.
This is a 1932 Alfa Romeo Typo B. It's commonly known as a P3. This is the first P3 built. It was the first monoposto Grand Prix car. It was raced by the Alfa Romeo factory in 32 and 33. This car won the 1934 Monaco Grand Prix. It won the 1935 Mille Miglia. This car, in some ways, is a very important car because it is essentially the car that redefined sports car racing. This was the first time that Grand Prix technology had really been introduced into a sports car because it really is a Grand Prix car.
David Sidorik's 1931 Alfa competed earlier this year in the Louis Vuitton Classic China Run, an open road rally that legged its way across the Chinese mainland.
This is a 1931 Alfa 1750 Grand Sport Zagato, 6C with a supercharger. It's an original body with all of its original patina, which I like very much. The old cars, in my opinion, look much better with the old patina on it, especially on an original body.
The Lamborghini Countach is aptly named, since a rough translation of Countach is holy guacamole. And to see so many in one place, parked side by side with the newer Lamborghini Diablos, could make you feel a little rubbery in the knees. Old and new Ferraris, from 1972 Daytonas to brand new F355s, were everywhere and were detailed to within an inch of total perfection. And this Alfa Romeo, an outstanding classic automobile, as you will ever lay your eyes on, was the best of show winning.
It's a 1939 Alfa Romeo 6C 2500 Super Sport, and even more of a designation beyond that, it's called a Typo 256, which originally was a race chassis, of which they made 20 in 1939. We believe this is the 20th chassis, and then it was returned sometime during the war, after the war, to the factory and was mated with a touring or a road-going body rather than race body. Totally restored by me, got it in 1993, and haven't driven much, but I'm going to start enjoying it now after celebrating the best of show here at the Concorso Italiano.
You'd have been hard-pressed to find anyone who wasn't happily soaking up the sights and sounds of this lawn party for Italian stallions. And the location has as much to do with its success as the classics it plays host to.
There's very little to compare with Quail Lodge. Concorso Italiano fits with Quail Lodge just like the bread of Ferrara fits with Ferrara. They tried to make the bread in other cities, but they couldn't reproduce it. Quail Lodge Resort and Concorso Italiano are a natural.
So, why a Concorso Italiano?
it's something that I enjoy. I enjoy the cars. My wife and I founded the event with the Maserati Club here 12 years ago. And we work on it throughout the year. We get to talk with people all over the world who come and enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and it can be a good thing to do personally and professionally.
Molto bene and arrivederci.